My goal is to make you aware of the amount of child abuse going on in our country. I am going to speak to you today about a problem in America that really shouldn't be a problem. I want you to listen to a poem before I begin my speech. It's called Hush Little Sister, created by Music Croc 781. Hush little sister, please don't cry. I wish I could be there to sing you a lullaby. I can see your arms, bloodied and bruised. That's strange, little sister, mine were like that too. I know you scream when daddy's there. Hush, little sister, I know you're scared. I can see the way he's hurting you. I'm sorry, little sister, he did that to me too. I know that people ignore what's going on at home. That makes me angry, little sister. You shouldn't have to be alone. Hey, little sister, you know why I'm not there? It's a sad story, little sister, but people should care. You see, little sister, one day Daddy got high. You were asleep in your crib, so you didn't hear my cry. He screamed at me and smashed my head against the door. While you slept, little sister, I died on the floor. You know, little sister, I don't think I would have died if someone had only bothered to listen to my cries. But hush, little sister, Daddy's coming home. Quick, get into bed. You don't want him to find you alone. I'm sorry, little sister, he's in a bad mood. Run while you can. Uh-oh, little sister, he's lifting his belt. Scream while you can, little sister, call for help. Hush, little sister, you don't need to cry. No one can hurt you. You're in my arms tonight. The fact that I can look up startling statistics about child abuse tells us how bad the epidemic really is. I worked in a mental health facility for 3 years. I have seen the effects that abuse has on children. I also have had people in my community or friends of friends that have been touched by the death of a child due to abuse. Child abuse comes in different forms, has different causes and signs to watch for, and there are ways that we as a society can help. The child abuse statistics in this country are alarming. According to childhelp.org, the United States has the worst child abuse records among industrialized nations, losing an average of between 4 and 7 children every day to child abuse and neglect. According to UNICEF, almost 3,500 children under the age of 15 die from maltreatment, which includes physical abuse and neglect, every year in the industrialized world. 2 children die from abuse and neglect every week in Germany and the United Kingdom, 3 a week in France, 4 a week in Japan, and 27 a week in the United States. Spain tops the list with the least amount of child abuse deaths. Greece and Italy tie for second, and Ireland and Norway tie for third. Now we look into the different types of abuse that are affecting our children today. There are basically 3 types of child abuse. Emotional abuse is defined as, according to Healthy Place, any attitude, behavior, or failure to act that interferes with a child's mental health or social development. Some examples of emotional abuse are name-calling, frequent yelling at a child, telling the child they are worthless and no good, and humiliating a child. The most recognized form of child abuse is physical abuse. Physical child abuse is an injury resulting from physical aggression. Examples of physical abuse are burning a child with a cigarette or other object, striking a child hard enough to cause bruising, biting a child, or hitting a child with a closed fist. These are only a few examples. Sexual abuse of a child is any sexual act between an adult and a child, including penetration, intercourse, incest, rape, oral sex, and sodomy. Sexual abuse is the most damaging form of child abuse, since it can take years before the child will even confide in an adult about what happened to the child, making the process to healing very long and difficult. Examples of sexual abuse are showing a child pornography, touching a child's genitals, or forcing them to touch yours, any penetration or intercourse, rape, incest, or sodomy. Now that we have reviewed the 3 types of child abuse, we will look at what the causes or risk factors are that cause this abuse to begin with. There are different causes or risk factors of abuse. According to Innocent Report Card issue number 5 from September of 2003, it has been found that of all the family problems recorded by investigators into the circumstances of child maltreatment, one of the most common and most serious is drug and alcohol abuse. Poverty, class and race, lone parenthood, unemployment, low educational levels, and adults who were also abused as children are other risk factors or causes of child abuse. Domestic violence in the home between adults can also be a risk factor for a child to be abused also. Overall, surveys to date in different industrialized countries suggest that 40 to 70% of men who use physical violence against their partners also physically abuse their children. That about half of women who are physically abused by their partners also abuse their children. Reports also show that the greater the frequency and severity of violence between partners, the greater the risk to the child. Now that we are aware of the causes and risk factors, we need to know what to look for in children who we suspect of being abused. There are warning signs to watch for in children who you suspect of being abused. Children who are being emotionally or verbally abused may be depressed or aggressive, problems with schoolwork, or suicidal behaviors. Children who are being physically abused may have unexplained bruisings, burn marks, bite marks, or may wince if someone touches a place that is bruised but covered by clothing. Children who experience sexual abuse may be withdrawn, may have trouble forming relationships with people, may show signs of bowel issues such as constipation, may be cruel to animals, or may try to inappropriately touch other children. After all of this information on child abuse, you are probably wondering how to help lower the statistics. I have the answers for you. There are ways to help fight the child abuse epidemic in this country. Always be on the lookout for children who show any of the preceding behaviors. Report any abuse that you think may be going on. It is better to be safe than sorry. You can report suspected abuse to your local law enforcement office or call the Child Abuse Hotline. Now, to conclude my information session, I will quickly go over what we have discussed. Now that we have discussed the ins and outs of child abuse, you should better be able to help fix this epidemic. The United States has a very high rate of child abuse and child abuse deaths each year. However, again, there are signs to look for so that we can start to report these cases. I would also like for everyone to get on YouTube and look at the video. It's called Why by Rascal Flatts, and it really gives a deeper meaning of, it gives you the faces and everything of children who have died at the hands of their abusers. So, thank you, and I hope this information was helpful.